Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the I-5 Corridors Traffic Report. Tyson Alger here, joined by Justin Myers on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Would probably be a great afternoon to play baseball, but that season's over with, Justin. The MLB announced last night that the playoffs are done.
It's over.
They have cut programming from Fox, TBS. Both organizations surprisingly were like, you know what? We're cool with that. Like, we lost our start. I'm not doing well, Justin, is essentially what I'm trying to tell you.
So this is what I wanted to start with the podcast today. I mean, we will get into Oregon football, and we will get into other things.
I thought we were only doing Oregon football today.
As you well know, I was lucky enough to cover the Oregon Ducks on Eugene Radio for 10 seasons.
Correct.
And for 10 seasons, I would do the pregame and the postgame show, regardless of outcome. And there was a lot of really fun post-game shows.
I was going to say, a lot of good outcomes. You didn't have to go through the how do we do this after a loss a whole lot.
No. That being said, the losses were gut-wrenching. Mm-hmm. And I was then, and still am, I'm an Oregon fan. I know up in the press box you have to pretend like you don't care,
right.
But deep down I did care. So things like 2007 Oregon at Arizona. Mm-hmm. 2011, the LeBron James Banana Boat Gang game against USC. 2012, like after the game, I had to, regardless of how I felt, get on the air and for 2 hours recap the misery that we all just dealt with. And I found, Tyson, over those years, that it was incredibly cathartic. That it helped me process it. That as a fan, when Oregon would lose, I would sit and I would stew for days and days and days. And for those 2 hours doing the post-game show, it would help me talk it out. And if anything, the callers calling in, I would realize they are way worse off than me. So that all being said, as we sit here now less than 24 hours of the most gut-wrenching loss of your fandom, sports fandom,
They were up 3-1, man.
it was 3-1 in the seventh.
3-1 in the seventh.
Going to the World Series, yeah. Is this the...
I have found that a week ago, I was thinking, I timed this job change perfectly. I was able to get out of the corridor. It got me a little bit of money. The bye week is setting up perfectly for the World Series. The clouds are just opening it up for Tyson and the Mariners. Here we go. And now today, I had to go to the office today. Mm-hmm. If this had been a year ago, Mariners lose that game, I'm probably viciously hungover by myself today. Instead, I had to go to the office, and I have found, Justin, talking it out doesn't help.
It's not helping.
It doesn't help. Like it felt like showing up to work, and everyone knows you just had a really bad breakup. And so it was just like everyone's like, hey, how are you doing? Like, oh, like you guys had a lot of fun. Like, remember the good times. Like, remember a month ago with that dumper. But yeah, I was expecting the Mariners to lose last night. Like that's my baked in Mariners fandom. And I think maybe that's where the slight difference between like Mariners fandom and maybe Oregon fandom may lie, because I think there's a general level of Oregon fandom that we are this good. We deserve to win a national title. Like, we may be new, we're not a blue blood, but we are now, and we are coming up that hill, and we are going to stay there. I sent out a tweet yesterday, like right before the game, that was like, I'm very excited for this game. Game 7, never experienced that before. Like, this is awesome. But also, to a person, every Mariners fan I talked to yesterday was just like just in almost like dread, waiting for the game, because it's like, yeah, you could lose, and you still have Julio, you still have Cal Raleigh, you still have that pitching staff, you have the core baked in. It's like the same stuff that we were saying after 2001 when they won 116 games, and then they went to the ALCS, and then they got punked by the Yankees. And Justin, it took 22 more years for them just to get to the playoffs after that. So they're up 3-1 yesterday. It's the 7th inning. I was watching with my wife, Allie. My buddy Denon came over. Right after the 6th inning, I was just like, this is going too well. Like, I need to just like step out for a second. So I was like, Denon, like, you want a burger? I'll grill up burgers in the back. So I get the barbecue going. I have the game on the radio back there. just put the cheese on the burger. It's got the it's a stressful day, but I'm still toasting the buns. That's the type of host that Tyson Alger is. Plate them up, walk into the room, put the tray down on the table, and as soon as my butt touches the seat,
oh no,
George Springer, home run. And I let out a big F-bomb. I kind of slumped in the seat, and then it just kind of felt like it was like, I think I deserved it. I don't know what I did, but it was just like that was the thing, because it's like you have the World Series ripped out of your hands, but then there's this weird Mariners fandom where you're just like, oh, that was it wasn't like we were supposed to get there. It's just like, oh, I guess again, it's not. I don't know. It's just this weird. I'm much happier to be this upset at this time of the year, but you talked about gut-wrenching losses and having to kind of do the post-game and kind of the post-mortem. I've covered a fair amount of pretty gut-wrenching losses for the Ducks. There was the Rose Bowl last year. There was the Alamo Bowl. There was the national title game in 2014 against Ohio State. These games where I know everyone that is listening and reading to me are just absolutely gutted. And even as someone, I'm not an Oregon fan, I try to be partial. I go down the middle. There is definitely a disappointment that comes in those games, because it is much easier to interview people when they're happy. And it is much easier to write 6 stories off of a win versus 3, here's what went wrong.
Yeah.
And so that, but this is probably the first time that I've truly understood Oregon fans in we had this awesome season. It lasted so long. We got to this point, and just for a second we thought we were good enough, and then you're just smacked and told, no, you're not. And so that's where I'm at today. I posted a little Johnny Cash hurt myself today video right after the lot. That was about as much as I had to express after the game. But we've talked about joy scrolling the last couple of weeks. It was a lot of doom scrolling.
A lot of doom scrolling. It was bad.
You get the Woo interview with the guy yelling in the background. You get Cal Raleigh crying. It's a stupid sport, is what I'm trying to say.
There was a time when, again, going back to kind of the post-game shows that I used to do, where we would do the show from the Oakway Center. Mm-hmm. Now, sitting in the press box at Autzen, you can visually see the Oakway Center. But after games, I would have to time my exit to get out of the parking lot, because I had to be at Oakway Center within an hour.
Right.
Which is sometimes it is impossible.
It's why you cut out of the Oklahoma game early.
Exactly right. Same story. And I remember sitting in the end zone, Oregon in, I think this was 2007. They had lost to Cal. Deshaun Jackson had one of the greatest games of all time. Oregon was driving. Cameron Colvin went to try to get the pylon, fumbles out of the back of the end zone. Everybody then remembers, oh, right, that's the worst rule in sports. And I'm running up the tunnel to get to Oakway Center. And I remember I get there, and there's this little shop, Tyson, in the Oakway Center, where you can pick out a coffee mug or a vase, and you can paint this pottery.
Okay.
And then afterwards, they will spray it with enamel or whatever it is, and they'll put it in the kiln,
fire it,
and they'll fire it, and then you will go home with a decorative vase or coffee mug or platter, a bit of pottery that you yourself painted. And there were people in there just painting pottery on a Saturday, oblivious as the heartbreak that was going on less than a mile away at Austin Stadium.
There's no peaks or valleys in that life. It's they're just cruising.
So I'm just wondering, after a day like yesterday, as my better half, whom is a very big Mariners fan, vibes were low in my house yesterday. Basically gave me the sports are stupid, I don't know why we do this speech yesterday. It made me think of that, is it better to just invest your time in art, where you're just on a Saturday, you just appreciate art, and you don't it never lets you down. Now you'll never experience a championship with art, but
but you might get a blue ribbon or something, submit an exhibit to the fair.
But you'll never on a Saturday or a Monday night, let's say, in October, just feel the way you feel right now.
Well, let me ask you a question, because Oregon's never won the big one. How do the wins that you've experienced, the highs from the wins that you've experienced as an Oregon fan, compare to the losses that you've experienced as an Oregon fan?
Oh, that's good. That's
because it has to be to get to the point where Oregon's at. It's basically like an 11-1 win-to-loss ratio. So you get to experience the good more often than not, but also, you know, you're sitting here and you're picking out a random loss in 2007. It seems like those stick with you a little bit.
Yeah, because the losses back when college football was 1 versus 2, right? One loss compared to it. It's like negative stuff on the internet, right? You could hear 100 compliments. One person says, "You are an idiot." It's going to stick with you. It's the losses. They're the worst. They're the absolute worst. And so, yeah, I was so lucky. I was at the Rose Bowl when they beat Wisconsin, when Russell Wilson was the quarterback, to end a Rose Bowl drought of 90, I think it was 92 years it has been since Oregon had won a Rose Bowl. Yet 2012 Stanford will stick with me forever. 2007 Arizona, 2011 USC, like those are the games that will stick with you.
And you know why those ones stick with you? Because there was hope. And yeah. I found it's the hope that like the fact that the Mariners win into Toronto and won the first 2 games, like at this point, I think I would have preferred to have just been swept, because you go from like as a Mariners fan being up 2-0 in the ALCS, coming to like with the series coming back to Seattle. It's kind of like me on this podcast. Like, I didn't know what to do with my hands. It's like, well, whoa, like this is uncharted territory here. And like, if I'm judging by how like other baseball fans would feel in this situation, I should be feeling pretty good. But I think everyone just had that little back of your head, like, you got to win 4 of these. And then it was just, you know, the first 2 games in Seattle were just a mess, not close competitive games, and then you get that incredible game 5 where it's Cal Raleigh hitting the tie-in home run, and then Suarez hitting the grand slam. Should go down as one of the best moments in Mariners history. And now I'm wondering, like, where does that game get put in the context? Because, you know, the other very important plays in Mariners history, you think about like the Edgar Martinez double. That was at least to end a series. It was you won this series, you beat the Yankees. No one talks about that Cleveland stuff that happened.
It took game 1.
Yeah, exactly.
They got Dennis Martinez at game 1.
So I'm curious just to where that game 5 goes down in Mariners fandom, because in a sense it feels a little bit like when the Seahawks were playing the Patriots in the Super Bowl. What receiver was it that had that crazy catch down on the right side? Jermaine Kearse. It was crazy catch, bobbled. When that happens, you're going, that's one of the craziest, most memorable catches I've ever seen. And then 2 plays later happened. You don't talk about that catch all that much anymore.
That really doesn't.
So here you have one of the best endings to a Mariners game you've ever seen. You lose the next game, but hey, you know, you got a 1-game buffer. You go into winner take all game 7. You're up 3-1. A managerial decision ends up kind of playing a large factor. Like, maybe go to Munoz when you have the hottest hitter in their lineup up in a very high leverage situation. So anyways, I'm feeling the only thing that I can compare to this is the end of that Seahawks loss. And I'm not nearly as big of a Seahawks fan as I am a Mariners fan.
All right. So I have a couple of questions. So every Northwest sports fan, whether they are Mariners fans or not, like, they know the 95 championships or a divisional series game 5 walk-off. That, up until this year, maybe the most memorable play or the greatest moment in Seattle Mariners history.
Correct.
Part of that was because it was Edgar Martinez hitting a double and Ken Griffey Jr. scored.
Exactly.
Like, the stars showed up in the greatest moment. And this year you also had a game 5 walk-off at home. Not Hall of Famers. No, was it Polanco?
I mean, you know, he's still young. He's a young
right,
34.
But it's not Edgar and Griffey and, you know, everything that entailed. And you mentioned, we just don't talk about that Cleveland series. Did losing game 7 the way that they did erase the divisional series walk-off win. Because if they would have went to Game 7 against Cleveland in 95, we'll always remember the double, but it's like you said, it's the Jermaine Kearse catch. It's like that catch isn't talked about because of what happened 2 plays later. Will said walk-off at T-Mobile in the divisional series, will that be talked about, or will it be erased because of what happened 7 games later?
I think that will still be talked about, but it's not in the you have 2 clips to show at the end of a highlight package of remembering the Seattle Mariners. Like it's going to be the Edgar double still, and I think a part of it is what you alluded to. It's the 2 most lovable players in Mariners history. Like I remember writing a column for like my high school paper being like, the only difference between Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex Rodriguez is it was actually Ken Griffey Jr. sliding into home plate there and getting dogpiled on. If that would have been A-Rod, the whole Seattle fan base would have felt differently about him. But it's like Griffey, you had this amazing athlete, and then you had the moment that he produced in. And I also think that entire playoffs, especially once they got that moment, they were playing with house money. They had never even been in the playoffs before. Yeah. So with that, you still have the newness. The Polanco thing was amazing. I mean, that in itself was one of the best playoff games in MLB history. You're able to win it. It clinches a series. I think that stays. I think that has some lasting power to it. With
you come back to earth, shake off the cobwebs. That's still going to be a thing.
I think what you'll remember from the ALCS is probably still the Game 5. The Game 5 that they won. The one saving grace for me in terms of the organization and being a fan of the future of it and the guys who played large roles. I know Julio was the one who struck out to end that game, but he also had a home run and a double. Mm-hmm. Cal Raleigh hit 6 bombs during the playoffs. He was good during the ALCS. So at least we're not coming out of a playoffs where it's just you lost, and then the discussion is, well, the Stars didn't produce. Because I feel like that's something even Aaron Judge has had to get over for the last 5 or 6 years, and it's just not or it's nice to not have that added narrative on top of it, because it was the guys that I like that you want to see produce in these situations, they showed that they have at least the ability to do that. Pretty devastating to end that game with Raleigh on deck with the tying run on it's just
that was a 3-2 count.
Yeah. So,
and it was clear it would have been ball 4, but that's
what would have it been. I wasn't paying attention.
All right,
I'm pretty sure he foul tipped that.
Last question on this, because I am curious. I know how I am, and when they lost, do you sit in the misery and watch and continue to watch coverage?
I was watching, and my buddy Denon, who was leaving anyways, he's like, I can't believe you're watching this. Why are you doing this to yourself? And it's it's the same thing of when the play, you always hear that story, that junior in college who loses in the NCAA tournament, and he stays out on the court to watch the other team celebrate, because I'm never going to experience that feeling. That was my thing. I watched.
I want to know that pain, so that as a fan, when we come back next year.
Which is crazy though, because legitimately, one of my first memories as a sports fan was the end of that 95 ALCS. And I remember Joey Cora crying on the bench, and 19-year-old A-Rod putting his arm around him and consoling him. And so, yeah, my 2 now most permanent memories as a baseball fan are sadness.
Because the reason why I bring it up, again, as I mentioned, vibes were down in the Myers household last night. And
what's your role in that? Because
I finally got to the point where I asked, and I asked my wife, I go, what do you want me to do?
Because you have an interesting line to toe, because you're obviously not a Mariners fan. You're a Braves fan, mm-hmm. but your wife supports this, and you're pretty in the know with the Mariners, as you said. You used to do the pre and post, so more so than probably any other team that would be in the situation. You at least understand.
Yes, I do understand, and the whole time, as you have probably gotten to know me, when things get uncomfortable, I make jokes.
Do you?
And I had to bite my tongue, because I know how I would be feeling if roles were reversed and this was my team. I would not want jokes at this moment. So I did a lot of housework. last night. Dishes were done. Counters were clean. Did a lot of cooking. Just kind of because wife was pacing.
Yeah.
Up, pacing, sitting. And then afterwards, I'm like, what do you want to do? Like, because I grabbed the remote because she was pacing in the ninth. And I had the remote in my hand because I know her. And
Seahawks are on.
So I did. So instantly flip it to the Seahawks game because I'm like, well, they're up 14-0.
Yeah.
I thought it was way more, and because I was watching, and then I was like, it turns out they picked up the fumble, but then they fumbled again, and it was a touchback. Anyways, so that whole thing happened. So I instantly flipped to the Seahawks, right? Well, what is the coverage?
Did they start clipping to all the Seahawks fans in the stands watching the game? And
Yes.
They
Instantly go to see the stands where people are wearing their Mariners gear and just getting the news. And, so the broadcasters are like, if you're just, and it's like, can't escape it. Can't escape it.
This is how I knew it meant something to me, because generally I'm exact same person as you. Like when things get awkward or weird, I start cracking jokes.
Yeah.
Like usually, even if I'm feeling bad, I start cracking jokes. Like, and I just sunk into that couch. Like I didn't say anything. I don't even think I said goodbye to Den. Bye, Den, and thanks for coming over last night. It was nice to see you. Yeah, but like it's good to feel though. Like I remember talking before this season, our good friend Jeff Smith, who's probably the biggest baseball fan I know. He's a massive Padres fan, doesn't miss a Padres game, and occasionally he's like my baseball therapist. When things aren't going well for the Mariners and I'm feeling frustrated about either ownership or the front office, I'll go and vent to him and be like, "Man, we're getting too old for this. Like, how do you keep?" And Jeff is always there to be like, another game tomorrow, or like as soon as season ends, he knows when spring, how many days and minutes and seconds until spring training. And so Jeff was always there to kind of like Sherpa me until like, you'll settle back into the Mariners. Like, I know you're angry now, but like, in your heart, like you're going to get into this team. He was right. I wish he wasn't.
I wish he wasn't.
Okay. For teams that did win.
Yeah.
Oregon did beat Rutgers 56-10 on Saturday. 750 yards of total offense, just a couple of yards shy of a program record. They had over 400 yards of rushing. Dante Moore, not bad. There was a part in the second half where I believe he had 6 consecutive 20-yard throws in a row, which I think the Ducks had like 2 plays over 20 yards in the entire Indiana game. So got that out of the way. The Ducks are 6-1. Wisconsin's coming up next. I think we can say that's a gimme. How are we feeling about these Duckies, Justin?
Much better than I think a week ago. And it's interesting the emotional flip that happened from the beginning of that game.
It felt a little here we go again, didn't it?
It really did, because obviously they get the ball. Not even a 3 and out, but a 2 and fumble and give up.
That was like a classic cartoon fumble. Like it looked like somebody greased the ball before Gary and then just whoop.
And then, I mean, again, Oregon would ultimately blow them out, but I don't know what they have to do to get a targeting call, because I don't know if you saw on that fumble, it was a clear helmet-to-helmet contact. It was the crown of the head. But Oregon just doesn't get targeting calls this year. I got it.
I have the solution to that. Have you ever seen a Jack in the Box? Basically, they transform helmets into, if you get hit in the right spot, like an alert, a little puppet or spring,
something.
A little puppet or spring pops out. I'll talk to Nike. That might be a Riddell thing. Is that the helmet company?
There's a couple. Shut, I think is another one. There's a handful of them out there. We'll give them a call. But yeah, it felt like, oh man, and because you after Indiana, you have to like rethink like. Okay, Penn State just fired their coach. They kind of stink. Nobody else that you have played has any semblance of ability to play the game of football. You played one team that had the ability to punch back, and boy, did they. And now you come into Rutgers, and you've turned the ball over, and you've given up an early lead. You've lost. You're going to give the football back at the beginning of the second half. And it's like, okay, nope.
There goes Noah.
There goes Noah Whittington. There's Kenyon Sadiq. There's the guys that need it. And then there's the Dante Moore that we saw for the first month of the season. Not the guy that we saw. Like, Indiana, whatever they threw at Dante Moore, like, they got him, right? It happens. Like, they threw him off his game, and something wasn't clicking. They got him. Well, he came back in a big way. So I think this was what kind of Oregon football needed, but it's kind of what Oregon fans needed to be like, okay, no, these guys, our eyes were not lying to us for the first month. This team is still very, very good.
It's funny because if that little 3-0 deficit had happened before Indiana, I don't think anybody blinks an eye. It's just like,
No.
yeah, you know what? That's actually pretty good. We got a stop that forced them into a long field goal, which Oregon seemingly can't hit any field goals still. It's not like that's been a problem throughout much of the history of Oregon Ducks, especially in important seasons. But yeah, there was definitely a little like East Coast trip record. Like, that stadium environment looked a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. But then they did the thing that, like, I've been hoping they would do for much of this year, and I know it was Noah Whittington who got it going with his big 68-yard rush, but for the first 6 weeks of the season, like, Kenyon Sadiq has looked like he's up on the wall in a glass case and it says break in case of emergency.
Yeah.
Because they know what that thing can do. This week they're like, pulled him out and then just had him go to town in that first half. And I believe I think it was 4 catches, like 84 yards, 2 touchdowns. He didn't even play in the second half. Talked to him today. He said, turns out when you catch that ball in the end zone and you land on your hip like that, it hurts just a little bit. Even though looking at Kenyon Sadiq in person, I don't believe anything would hurt that man. He's one of the crazier athletes I've ever seen in person. But that was just a game where it's like, hey, Oregon has these very good guys. These very good guys should beat them. And then that's kind of what they did. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of, I was impressed by some of the creativity that you saw from Will Stein, especially like a week after everyone's like, this guy sucks. It's like, it went from like, come on, Oregon fans, like, let's just like throttle down like the polarizing reactions right away. Because for the first 6 weeks of the season, everyone's going, Will Stein, look out for all these coaching vacancies opening up. He's probably going to, and then like you have one not great game where he still scored 20 points. And I know one of those was a defensive touchdown, but whatever. But it's just like, I think just settle into it a little bit. Like, let's see what the full season product looks like at the end of it. But that was a much improved game from them.
And it was a little bit of how the offense got their groove back.
Yeah.
Right. And you knew they were.
Does that sound like an episode title?
It could potentially.
It's better than
title.
Tyson Cries for.
It's better than Hello Darkness, my old friend.
Flowers for Alger.
Because there was the stretch where they went hurry up, and not only did they go hurry up, but they did every trick play that was imaginable.
I mean that Sadiq one we're talking about, I think that was the end of a flea flicker. It was like an end around flea flicker back to Dante.
So they do a reverse, go up tempo, reverse into swinging gate, into flea flicker, touchdown. Like, that was the.
That seems like so many button combos.
It really does. Like, if you were playing your friend in Madden and they did that, you would get mad and quit. Because
this play clock's got to be ticking down at some point. Like,
so they just go, and it was like, oh, okay, yep. More weapons, creativity still there. That swagger was still there, because that was kind of what was the worry after Indiana, was like the cocky, brash. You have to play with some arrogance, right? You have to play with a little bit of cockiness. You can't go over the line. And it was like, oh, did Dan Lanning fly too close to the sun? Did he touch that third rail? Did they go from confident to overconfident?
He flew so close, his shirt got burned off.
Exactly. Very early in the morning.
Can I make a quick just comment on that? Because I like where you're going with, like, that is Oregon's personality. We're brash. We're going to take what's ours. We're not going to wait around for you guys to like lay out the Big Ten open mat. Who cares if you're giving us a shitty schedule? Who cares if we're having to fly around more? Like, we're Oregon. Like, you guys are lucky to have us. And so with all of that, like, I think in that context, like, it's not crazy that Dan Lanning took off his shirt against Indiana.
Not at all.
Like especially following up like where we saw him at the end of Penn State. Like, it just kind of seems like that was the end of one episode, and it's Netflix. So you get them all at once. You turn on the next one, and boom, Dan's shirtless. It's just the way that they ended up playing that game afterwards. And it's easy to make kind of the inference of like, whoa, well, maybe Dan could have been doing this instead of like, whatever. I don't think that actually impacted anything. It just made it easy for us sports writers to like wag our fingers. And, but yeah, so coming back into this Rutgers game, you know, it's not like you heard like any shit talk during the week or like that, but it was just like, that looked like back to like an Oregon team that knew who they were. And it was just, you know, I think they could have put up 60 or 70 if they wanted to in that game.
So let me ask you this, because we do have a new version of college football that I think we're all still adjusting to with this 12-team playoff. Is it too early to start forecasting?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
Because I don't know about your phone, but my phone is full of group chats, inside group chats, and it's all mostly Oregon football. And it started on Friday night when Miami lost, and then Texas Tech would lose. So like the losses to Ole Miss, to Texas Tech, to Miami, and two of those were to unranked teams. Like Texas Tech losing to Arizona State, Miami losing to Louisville. Like, of the one-loss teams, you're now in the spot of, like, Oregon has the best loss of all the one-loss teams. It felt premature to me, but I just wanted to make sure I'm not crazy.
Let me backtrack just slightly. I think it's okay to, midway through the race, take a look to your left, take a look to your right, see who's in the other lanes, and you know, just kind of take into account where everybody's at. I think the projections in terms of who might we play, I think that's because as we've seen, like, you know, project out Oregon season last year at this point. Like, you're like, oh, sweet, we might get the bye. Turns out that wasn't a great thing to have. And I also think in college football now more than ever, teams are much different quality at the end of the season than they are start of season. So, you know, you can look around and be like, oh, maybe we'll play that. Who the hell knows how good Miami is going to be in a few weeks? But I do think it's fair to take into account who all has one loss right now, who has the chance of, because basically you can get down to 2 losses. I don't like Oregon's chances if they go down to a second loss, just because.
Well, we talked about it last week. Like, the rest of the schedule, considering that
Washington
and USC both lost, you don't have a marquee. Like, now your marquee game is Iowa on the road.
Well, your marquee game is essentially you can't have any marquee losses anymore.
Yes.
Like marquee losses in air quotes. But Indiana was a marquee loss. I mean, like shit hit the bed losses. You can't have what it seems like every other team in college. Like, all these other teams that we're talking about that are in like the 1-loss or 2-loss carries, like, they've all had like a massive like F up.
Yes.
Not all of them, but they've just had like you should have beat that team. You played terrible against that team. Like, I almost feel like Oregon gets a little bit less of the benefit of the doubt because they didn't play, or like they lost to a good team. And I feel like sometimes in that case, they'll be like, oh, it's good team versus good team, and that team won. Like, that one must be better because they're both quality programs who know how to prepare.
Yeah.
If you lose to like a crappy team, it's you know, they were looking ahead. It was you know, they just weren't focused well enough. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think the one thing that I took from this weekend in college football is just like we do this every year. We never learn our lesson. There's something, Tyson, about maybe it's because it's so dark in January and February, where we just forget that, like, oh yeah, these college kids are going to have brain cramps. You're going to have a bad performance. And every time we get into September and October and we start thinking, oh, we've got this whole thing figured out, Miami may be the best team in the country. They lose to Louisville at home.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, Texas Tech, watch it. I think it was on game day, most underrated undefeated team. Oh, Texas Tech. Well, they lose to Arizona State. And, you know, you just kind of forget every single year, like, this is why college football is the best. Like, something weird's going to happen.
I mean, this is like, I knew we were getting out ahead of our skis following Penn State, not in the national championship discussion, but in the Dante Moore's the favorite of the Heisman discussion. Yeah. Because every year we've done this. Every year we watch the Heisman race, and you know that the person in week 5 is generally not the guy who ends up winning it. It's whoever starts doing that in week 8, week 9, week 10. Like, kind of, it's a momentum award, and I think Dante is still definitely in contention for it. But it's just like, Tyson, you've been doing this for a long time, buddy. You should know that a lot of things that change in college football. Like it's, that's what makes it great, because there's one game a week and we treat each one like it's this massive momentum, season changing thing, but things even out after a while.
Looking ahead to this week, I'm going to throw out a confession. And, you know, I made a promise years ago, probably after the second time I got fired from a radio show, that I'm like, you know what, if I'm ever going down, I'm going to go down being completely honest and transparent with anybody who chooses to watch or listen to me talk into a microphone, because I am unbelievably appreciative of anybody that does. So I will always be honest and truthful. When I complain about stuff at the end of this podcast, Tyson knows this, but it is the truth. These are real things. I will open with a confession.
These are Justin's confessions.
I don't get the Grateful Dead stuff.
Dude,
I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't get it.
Okay,
I've never gotten it. Maybe it's because I'm not a weed guy. I don't know. I don't want to paint with a broad brush. I'm not saying everybody that likes the Dead.
It's not too late to become one, Justin.
I'm just saying I think I have a pretty good appreciation of music. You may disagree, but
you're rounded at least. Like, I know you like a lot of different genres and things.
And there are things that aren't my cup of tea, but I go, oh, but I get why that would be other. I've never gotten the Grateful Dead. I've never gotten it.
So I've been trying to, because we've known this game's coming for a while. And so last week I was in the office and I was going around and asking people, like, are you into the Grateful Dead? Are you into the... And a lot of people in my office are younger. There's a lot of like mid-20s or so.
Yeah.
So like it's a lot of blank stares from that. I tried to go talk to Bob and Mike, our older copy editor guys, and they're like, like we know guys, but like we're not. And so like I was going through a lot of like the history, like where I get lost with the Dead is like I wanted to try to write about it a little bit, but it was kind of like my big worry of like when I started writing about soccer. It's like the people who know this are going to know that I don't know shit. And so like I never listened to the Dead really. I know a lot of people that are into it, but it was just funny today because, you know, they released kind of their jerseys and like their marketing package for it, and they have like Dante Moore like in a bus and looking all 70s out, and talking to a couple of the players today, like they've never heard Grateful. Actually, I had a question that I liked how I framed it. It was to I think it was Kenyan Sadiq, but it was just like, you know, this is obviously music from a different time before you guys. What have you noticed of the older coaches, or maybe like a certain GoDucks.com editor? And they're like, yeah, they all seem like really into it. Like,
very much.
I mean, like that's my thing. Like I know Rob Mosley's like a huge Deadhead. I know a lot of like, you know, register guard Chris Peach is a big Grateful Dead fan. Like
Chris Hansen.
Yeah, Chris Hansen. A lot of it fits in the kind of the hippie Eugene, that vibe. They're paying tribute to this because they played a series of maybe 7 shows in Eugene over the years. And I found like one fun nugget of they basically saved Springfield Creamery / Nancy's Yogurt. You know Nancy's Yogurt?
Yeah.
In 1972, they were going under. Their founder's brother was like in with the Dead, so like he sent them a message. It was like, can you come play a show? And they're like, yeah, sure. So like the first Grateful Dead show in Oregon was them just basically coming up to save the creamery. So anytime you have Nancy's probiotic yogurt, which I'm sure you do because you take care of your body, and from what I know, you're pretty regular. Thank the Grateful Dead. But my biggest complaint with it is they announced this thing months ago, and like the whole rumor is like they're going to wear tie-dye jerseys. There was a couple like here's what they might wear sort of things. And like they were, it was like, oh man. They come out with these things this week, and it's basically just their black Hawaiian jerseys that they've worn before, but like the deep green number is substituted for a little bit of tie-dye. Okay. And so I think unless they have like John Mayer coming out at freaking halftime to like do something, like I just it rings a little hollow to me, but also I'm not the target audience here, so I'm very aware of that.
So I had a fear in my Oregon Ducks heart from the summer of what the tie-dye.
This would be.
Because I remember, again, I'm a season ticket holder. They send out the thing when you get your tickets, and it's like the colors that you should wear, and it was Wisconsin, wear tie-dye. And I'm like, oh, good God, please no.
Please let Wisconsin be bad.
And again, I've already confessed that I don't get the dead thing. I was never into the tie-dye thing. We did it in art class in like 11th grade. So like I've made the tie-dye shirt, but it was never my thing. And I'm like, this is going to be Lewis and Clark uniforms all over again. That's what I thought. Like this is going to be the topographical map, and then a duck with two explorers on the helmet.
And then it's going to have like a 50-page PDF that explains like every little detail.
And so when I saw on Sunday the uniforms, I was like, I breathed a sigh of relief.
Okay.
Because of the subtlety of it. Because sometimes, again, they just go a little too far. Sometimes, and
they haven't in a while though.
And I'm happy about that, because as we know, it seems like every time, maybe they don't go too far. Maybe it's just the ones that they do go out there and then lose the game.
Right.
We mentioned games earlier that were heartbreaking losses. 2015 Washington State is one of those.
They had the dress head to toe like a Duck game.
Yeah, they dressed like a they were a college
at quarterback.
A major college football program dressed like a cartoon duck. Like that happened.
I remember getting an official.
And everyone was trying to tell me how these were awesome, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I remember writing a story for the Oregonian midweek before that game where I got official comment from Oregon on basically. So Oregon's going to be wearing orange in their uniform this week, and they were like, "Well, I got an official statement I think from Craig Pintons about that one of like, it's our identity." It's like, well, orange is kind of
color of your rival,
thing up the street, but
those
would have been.
I'm glad they did not go full head to toe. I kind of like them. But yeah, if they went full tie-dye, like some of the internet renderings that I saw from like August of like, oh, what if they did this? And I was like, thank goodness that they didn't.
I just feel like this is a completely wacky theme for a football game. I think we can all agree on that. And they made cool uniforms for it. And I don't think those things work for how out there Grateful Dead is versus like how chiseled Oregon is with its image. Like I don't think those two things necessarily blend. And I personally was hoping that Oregon would be like, you know what, we're confident enough in ourselves that we can wear that. And instead, I just feel like this was more, we got to find an excuse to wear black again this season. And so, let's take our cool black uniforms that the players like, which is obviously the whole point of the uniforms. And let's just slap like some very distinct tie-dye, like in the numbers. Like if you didn't see that announcement that this was Grateful Dead and tie-dye themed and you just saw those uniforms, it would take me probably 20 minutes to be like, oh shit, those are tie-dye. Like, there's a little tie-dye in there. Or you got your little Grateful Duck
patch, and then the Bears.
I should also, this is Tyson thinking he should do some reporting. I should figure out like who's getting paid for this. Is it Oregon getting paid from Grateful Dead for marketing the shit out of their stuff, or is it?
I think we all know.
Or does Oregon?
I think we all know who's getting paid. Tyson, we all know.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Swish.
Yeah,
because they are coming out with some shoes and.
We all know ultimately where the money goes, and then the money gets funneled back.
You guys want another 4-star running back? Well, listen to this shit. I've never. I think I'm a little too young for the jam, kind of like the psychedelic jam band thing, because I have a lot of friends, especially on my hockey team, who are about 10 to 15 years older than me, and they love nothing more to go to like a Ween show or a Grateful Dead or to like just something where somebody's going to be playing a sax solo for like 12 minutes. Like just, I'm too ADHD for that. I don't have the attention span.
I am 10 years older than you. I don't get it either. So
That was my roundabout way to bring up our age differences.
Yeah, it's a good
Once
way.
again, he's old. I'm.
Yeah, but it's never been my thing. I've never understood it. I'm sure there's probably somebody screaming at the pod right now, calling us some sort of name.
No, and I would like to be clear, because I do know that like the fans of that are as big into that as any fans are into anything.
100%.
So like this is like me. This is similar to when I went to Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago and I got the Primanti Brothers pastrami sandwich, and I hated it because there was about like 4 inches of coleslaw on it. But I could tell that for the people who like that sort of thing, that this was a very quality sandwich. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk down Primanti Brothers. It just wasn't
for you.
like it could have take out 2 inches of coleslaw, maybe take out like 10 minutes of drum solo, and also like I don't know the Dead, like they might not even do that. I'm probably pissing them off even more. Like, we haven't had a 10-minute drum solo in 34 years. Do you think the Bill Walton-ness of, like, do you think they're like semi trying to veer into Bill Walton-ness with this too?
I think there's a little bit of that, but I see, again, I am old enough to remember like when the Dead played Autzen. Like I remember like it was a very big deal. I had cousins who were like super into it for obvious reasons that weren't maybe musically influenced. It might have been other things going on at Autzen in 1991.
They could see the colors of the song, is what
They really could.
Yeah.
So I definitely remember like that when the Dead came to Autzen, the multitude of times, like it was on the news. It was a massive, massive deal. I'm just saying, I've never gotten it. I've never like the music, and some people like. It's never been my thing.
What would the musical tie-in for a football team have to be for you to be into it?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
To be like super into it.
I mean,
Okay.
like there's only like a handful of bands that have like the whole character kind of behind them too. You know, like Kiss. You know, it's not just the band. It's a whole.
So my super into it thing.
Dog's not a Dead fan either.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Has been Kenny Chesney.
Mm-hmm.
I have been to over 30 Kenny Chesney shows.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 100%. I've been to easily over 30. By the way, recently inducted in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Does he have that many? Like, I'm not a Kenny Chesney. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not anti Kenny Chesney. Just was not my wheelhouse. So he's got enough to make 30 shows. Like, I'd probably see Blink-182 30 times, and they have like one good album.
This is what I think Chesney figured out, and I think it's the opposite of the whole Dead thing, right? Because the whole Dead thing is you never know what they're going to play, and it's a different. Chesney's got he's like got the Jimmy Buffett, like, hey, people want to hear this song, this song, this song. I'm going to play the hits. I'm mixing a new one here, but I know what buttons to push. I know the vibe of and it's like summertime, Chesney, cold beers. You're not at the beach, but you feel like you are.
It might be like a spring game. Like,
yeah. So that would be like if Tennessee ever did.
What about a Jimmy Buffett game? Now that we're on that, Margaritaville.
Who, like, what would be like? Would that be Miami? Because he's like a South Florida guy. Like I could see like Tennessee doing like like a Chesney, but Tennessee doesn't change their uniforms.
Are we going to get like the Matt Kearney game in 20 years from now? The I'm going home game.
He's stretching that song out a lot, and you know what? Good for him.
Does he do that ever in non-Oregon venues? Or
to be honest, I don't know if I've ever seen him in a non-Oregon venue other than a spring game at game day. And
I remember hearing a couple of his songs like 20 years ago, like on the radio going through, but I don't think I could. Yeah. Again, solid musician, not my.
So I'm sure there's some deadhead out there that's like, really, you're going to look down your nose, Myers, but you travel around with Kenny Chesney. I get it. Like, I understand.
Yeah, but also you're not sitting here like stomping your foot being like, we need to wear blue jeans and Carhartt flannel for again.
Yeah, that's painting with a very broad brush, but you're not far off.
Yeah, we're gonna have the flannel game, you know.
Instead of the duck coming on a Harley, it's definitely in a truck.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be weird, and they're gonna be able to lean into it because they lucked out in the fact that this is gonna be a bad football game. There is no reason to suspect that Wisconsin can put up any fight against Oregon. They're winless in conference play. They're got a fan base that's demanding a coaching change. This isn't the Wisconsin that kind of like this Wisconsin program feels a little bit like if Oregon didn't change the way they did things after 2016. Like if you kind of still went with we got to get guys that like have a feel for us and our system, and we're gonna, we're gonna find that 3-star that's actually a 5. It's like that was kind of the Oregon way for a while. It's like that mixed with system and. Wisconsin kind of feels that same way in the sense of like you have a great history, tradition, you've built this fan base up, but you just can't recruit at the level that everyone else has gone up to. And so it's just kind of like, okay. I feel like some of those schools that had tradition and like even the ones that like you don't kind of like shit on like a Nebraska of like they used to be like Wisconsin's always just been like a solid B plus, and they've been very good at maintaining that, and I feel like those are the programs that probably get screwed over the most in the new era of college football because you have an option to go for it or not, and not every school has the ability. You have the option, but not every school has necessarily the hey, like let's have Nike and Phil Knight set up Division Street and we'll be fine.
Yeah, or let's have a like an underground meeting of the 5 families of donors too. I'm sure what Ohio State probably has, whoever the power brokers are, like, look, going in.
Yeah, it just comes up at their next Skull and Bones club.
Exactly. It's somewhere in Austin, well, probably in Dallas, Texas, like all of the Longhorns, and then the Aggies alum, like they're probably in the same building, just on different floors, and they have like a key code to get in, and it's like, all right, it's going to be $30 million. It's like, we're just going to have to do it. And it just doesn't feel like Wisconsin really went on that
right and
that route.
And so there's a world that I think, especially when the Big Ten merger first happened and Oregon fans are looking up and down of the like who are the teams that are like we're gonna have rivalries against, and it's like, well, Wisconsin's easy because you've played them in a couple Rose Bowls, and that just hasn't been the case. Obviously, they went out to Wisconsin last year. They hopped around all over them. Pretty nice play to end the third quarter there by Mateo Uiagalelei that saved that one. But this Wisconsin team is worse than that last year's. And I think that they're going to have the benefit of you can do some wacky stuff on the Jumbotron in between plays and not have to worry about the fact that like you have to score on this drive to win the game.
It is going to be a smidge of a bummer, and it's...
How much weed smell is going to be around Autzen on Saturday?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Probably not in the section that I sit in. It's a higher class.
You guys have more expensive drugs.
But it's funny because not only is this game coming up, but Halloween is coming up, and I think we've talked about it. Like when you were in Alaska growing up, the bummer is like you would have your costume, but then you would have to put on your winter coat. And in Oregon, there was always that one Halloween where you would have this cool like Ghostbusters costume, but it would rain
like crazy,
and you would have to wear a raincoat around and then open up your raincoat, and it's like, so it was wear tie-dye. Nobody has tie-dye rain gear. It's gonna rain on Saturday.
You're not still opening up that raincoat, are you?
No, I don't think so. That can get you into some trouble. Yeah, but it's like there's gonna be a lot of people with tie-dye shirts under ponchos, I feel, on Saturday. And by the way,
do you own a poncho?
Yes. I do own a poncho.
I bought a rain jacket last week for the first time as an Oregonian.
How'd it feel?
And I've not been an umbrella guy. I've just been a like, Lord, take me. If I deserve this water, it's going to happen. But I went out and covered a cross country meet. That's what we do at Lookout. We get
Yeah.
out, we get all out there.
You're gonna need a rain jacket for that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to get soaked for a cross country meet. So
First off, I have ultimate respect for anybody that plays a sport at an elevated level. I also have ultimate respect for people that challenge themselves and push their bodies to certain limits. I look at cross country events, Tyson, and I think to myself, not one person's having fun here. Mm-hmm. Zero. Not the people watching, not the people officiating, not the people participating, not even the winner. Looks like they're having a good
that's
time.
how I feel about hiking.
It's like, no,
Everyone,
you guys all realize like none of us have to do this.
one, the view's never worth it. You can just Google map it anyways. Just drop the pin, you're there. And the route up, certainly not. Like if you're ever hiking up something and you get to like that first lookout point where you're only like a third of the way up, but it's like your first time to like kind of like assess like how high you've gone. That's good for me.
Yeah,
I'm creative enough that I can imagine that view like 2,000 feet higher. I don't need to finish the entire thing.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
No,
Hiking sucks.
it really does.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite thing, and thankfully, my wife is on board with that. Like that's gonna.
I like hiking if it has like a camping scenario at the end of said hike, but I don't like. What starts happening in my head, especially if it's like a straight line hike, like you go there and then you come back. You get like halfway through going up there and you're getting a little tired, you're getting a little cranky, and then like every single thing you pass, you're like, this is just more stuff that I'm going to have to walk.
Yeah. You think about like things that can like divide a relationship, right? Religion, politics, money, in-laws. I think hiker and non-hiker is maybe the worst. That's got to be the worst combo. Of like you get together and one is a hiker and one is a non-hiker, and then it's the Cold War.
The thing is I'm just sharing this in the confidence of our podcast here because I know, my wife will tune into this, but she doesn't generally make it all 57 minutes. I think it is an important duty as a husband to. You just have to eat it on the hiking though. Like you don't tell them that you don't like hiking because it's like. It's outdoors. It's time with your partner. It's like these are all things that you can't be like, I don't want to do this.
But like anybody that hikes realizes like you can do like that activity like in a city and then like end up at a bar.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Waterfall, nice. Bar, better.
What if you go to like a brewery with a view?
Even better.
Even better.
I know that this is the part where I kind of talk about things that I'm irritated about. Can I be pre-irritated about something?
Yeah. Yeah, this is like Minority Report.
Yeah, I'm gonna get pre-irritated about something. Look. It is a beautiful autumn afternoon here in Portland, Oregon.
Are you an autumn guy or a fall guy?
Normally I would say fall, but I felt like to set up the thing I'm about to do. I felt
all right,
autumn.
so let's take it from the top. I'm sorry for
It is a beautiful autumn afternoon.
It is.
That being said, the weather is going to turn, and it is not going to be nice this weekend. It is.
I believe they are throwing out the AR, the atmospheric river.
Yeah, it's coming. It's gonna be a tough day out at the stadium. And I love when Don Essig, who is just a gentleman and a scholar. I love when Don Essig gives the "It Never Rains at Autzen Stadium," and I grew up going to the stadium knowing that it's more than just a weather report. It's kind of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Don't worry, it never rains there. And we're all in on the joke. There's going to be somebody, whether it is a writer, whether it is a radio host, whether it is somebody on the internet, who is going to do I guess it's going to rain at Autzen Stadium this weekend. I'm telling you right now, you're not the first one to do it, and you're not funny. I'm already mad about it. I haven't heard it yet, but it's going to happen. Somebody is going to say that, and I get mad just thinking about it. Somebody on Thursday or Friday, whether they are writing an article, whether they are doing a radio show, whether they're doing a television report, whether they are doing a Substack, Don Essig doesn't know. Just so you know, it's going to rain at Autzen. Some weatherman somewhere
into every story of my coverage for the rest of the week.
It makes me so mad. It's like, it's an inside joke that Oregon fans have with one another. Don't worry, it never rains there, right? It's a state of
mind, baby.
It makes me so mad. It shouldn't, but it just does. Like, yeah, every once in a while it's going to rain at Autzen Stadium. Don't rain on Don Essig's parade while you're at it.
Have you ever listened to the Press Box podcast? It's part of like the Ringer Network. It's Brian Curtis, and it's basically just like a media roundup.
I've seen clips pop up on my TikTok.
Every week they do the basically this was the most overused Twitter joke of the week, where it's just basically they parse through like every sports writer to be like, what was like the easiest swing you took, and that would be it for
that's going to be it on Saturday. Yeah,
absolutely.
Somebody is like, regardless.
What is the, because most of the time when it is quote unquote not raining at Autzen Stadium, it's a bit of a drizzle, if you will. I haven't been to too many monsoon games at Autzen, like circa 2013 Cal. I was not at that game. I remember watching on TV, being like, boy, I'm glad I don't have that job. Next year I did. There have been some cold games. There have been some games where I remember a game specifically at Husky Stadium. This was like 5 or 6 years ago, where it's just like, this sucks.
2019 Husky Stadium.
Correct.
I was at that game.
I always love what we writers have to do at halftime, where like we're all cold too, but like we're dry, and then all the photographers come up and they're just soaked, and you have to kind of do the, yeah, no, it's going good up here, guy. Like, yeah, you need it? Hot chocolate? But what is it like as a fan when you're, because you sit in the uncovered part of the stadium?
No.
You don't have the big wooden overhang.
No, I sit in the covered part of the stadium.
Oh, do you?
I've mentioned that once or twice on this show.
Oh, man, I don't pay attention.
Right below you, I sit. Covered.
I'm confusing you with my buddy Jake. He sits on the other.
Yeah, Jake is gonna have to really.
Okay. So do you guys
Gore-Tex it up?
So
I will not.
So is there a separation between the covered fans and the uncovered at a game? Do you have to kind of go through that? Like you're in line for the can.
Yeah, there's.
Do you let the soaked guy go in front of you?
See, here's the thing about us people that sit under the cover, Tyson.
You have your own can.
Yeah, we got our own bathrooms.
Yeah.
You have to have a wristband to get into the spot.
You ring a bell and somebody picks you up.
If somebody were to walk into where I sit and are covered in rain, we would know that they don't belong there. And we would then promptly alert security and have them removed.
It's like the people on like the bottom deck of the Titanic.
Exactly right.
That's
exactly right.
All right, so we know what you're pre-mad at. Is there anything that you're actually angry at?
Not angry about. I just have a question. I don't know if you've ever noticed.
Just asking questions.
Just asking questions. I noticed this watching football the other day. Why are the Gatorade cups so small on the sideline of football? Have you noticed how small Gatorade cups are?
I am so glad you brought this up.
Because, like, we know in 2025, like, the importance of hydration. And these are gigantic human beings. And I know that they make larger cups. I've been to a 7-Eleven. Super Big Gulps exist. So, why on the sidelines, when you need to hydrate so much because you are exerting so much energy, do they give them, like, I'm assuming an 8-ounce cup?
I think it might be two things. One, it might be scienced out. You know, they might know that an increment of 4 ounces of water at a time is actually better for the digestive process of delivering that hydration to yours. I have no idea. The reason I was glad that you brought this up, like 2 weeks ago, I was playing squash at my gym, and there's a water fountain, but it's nowhere near like the squash court part. But outside the squash court, they have a water jug, and they have like the Dixie cups that you can pull out, like the coned ones.
The cones, yeah.
It's about 4 of those that I need to do to get me properly, and it's just why couldn't you just do a normal cup?
Just regular size cups.
Because instead I'm taking up time. Like there's a line growing behind me. It's like Tyson's getting water. We all get water. That's how my gym goes. And so you just kind of feel bad when you're taking these little shots of water. When you're like, just give me like an Nalgene or something.
I'm thinking about these athletic trainers and the equipment guys, whoever's in charge of the hydration distribution, aka the water boys, right? You got to it takes a good 4 or 5 cups for one lineman. Couldn't we get there's just at least a 12-ouncer?
Do you think there was just like one old school coach who like still believed in the water's weakness?
Yeah.
And so like this is like the concession. It's like just a little bit of weakness.
Yeah, and like they bought they went to Costco and bought like a ridiculous amount of Gatorade cups, and there's the guys we can't get any more until we use up what we got. Or is this
just more billable hours for the nutrition department? If you have to keep filling those up.
I remember in the days when I used to sit in the press box. Also, these were the days when I had a massive diet soda addiction. It was bad. And so for those that don't know, there is a soda fountain up in the press box, and it's all the diet Pepsi you can drink, but the cups are very small. Tyson, I used to go and grab the popcorn.
I learned that trick 2 weeks ago.
I used to go.
I've been on this beat for 12 years, and I finally put two and two together that like that cup can hold liquid.
So there is also, because not only is there a soda fountain there is a popcorn machine, and it's delightful. And they have a cup for popcorn that is a good 3 times the size of the cup for the soda. And then I would see, I learned this like
now would
2013.
Now would you fill up with popcorn first, eat the popcorn, and then have a buttery Diet Coke?
No, that's disgusting.
Yeah, well,
that sounds disgusting.
Yeah, well, I'm a fan of the environment.
I apparently am a fan of waste, as I would grab both.
Yeah.
I would take one cup and fill it full of popcorn, and then I would take a second cup and fill it full of Diet Pepsi, and then I would refill it multiple times.
My biggest annoyance is they get rid of all the cups when we go down to do interviews, and then we come back up to do our work and our writing. And like, I don't care that the Pepsi's gone or the cookies are gone or whatever. They get rid of the coffee too. And like that's the one time I need my little I need my fresh cup of coffee. I need a blank page, and I just need my creativity to paint a picture. But a lot of times I need that coffee for it.
Yeah, I think you can blame a lot of columnists who decide that they need to stay up there multiple hours after a game to craft the perfect column to encompass this 45-3 blowout, while the poor staff that has to put the coffee away sits and waits.
What columnists are you talking about?
I have no idea.
All the ones I've come across, they get the joking. They don't get this far either.
All right.
Hold on, 107. I'm taking note.
Yeah, there's no way they've made it this far. Tell somebody clips this. Please clip this.
Dude, if we get clipped, I'll be so happy.
Yeah, we need to maybe clip it ourselves. All right, last thing, and then we can move on about our week. Grocery store question.
Okay.
Fair or foul, Tyson Alger? Can you break up the bunch of bananas? It's maybe been a discussion in my household. As you go to the grocery store, to the produce department, and there is a bunch, like say you need four.
Do they sell
bananas.
them by weight or by bunch of banana?
I believe it's sold by weight.
If it's by weight, I think I was trying to figure this out yesterday because I was buying tomatoes and the sign was like tomatoes on the vine. It's like, am I allowed to? I only need one tomato. Can I pull one of these off of here, or do I have to buy this whole thing? So I ended up not buying tomatoes.
After about 15 minutes of staring at it, I just decided to walk away. Because I went to the grocery store.
Looked like a caveman, looking at fire for the first time.
It's on the vine. We needed 4 bananas. And obviously they usually are about bunches of about 6. And my wife was like, just break 2 off. And I'm like, you can't do that. And then she's like, look at all those singles on the bottom. Clearly everybody has.
Can't you do that with beers here too? With 6-packs? Can't you?
I don't believe you can.
I remember when I first moved to Oregon, people were like, it's amazing here. You just want one beer. You can just pull that out and buy it individually.
I've never tried. To be perfectly honest, I've never had it.
Maybe I've just been stealing beers.
There's just never been a point in my life where I felt like one beer was enough.
One 12-ouncer, skip the tall boys that you could get. And I don't like buying bananas. I like bananas, but they are the worst thing to buy because they're never ready when you buy them.
They're too ready.
I would much rather have them be too ready when you get them, because then at least you can transition to banana bread or something. I'm not a good planner. When I want bananas, I go to the store and bananas would be good, and then they're green. They sit there. They're stale, and I'll eat them. I don't have patience. If it's there, it's being consumed. But yeah, just not one. It's unless it's for smoothies. A bad banana can be good in a smoothie.
It reminds me of one of my favorite jokes by comedian Mitch Hedberg, who is no longer with us. R.I.P. to Mitch Hedberg. And I think maybe should we end the podcast on a joke?
I think so.
And the joke was, and I hope I don't butcher it, is that a banana is the opposite of a stoplight. Stoplight, red means stop, green means go. In a banana, green means stop, yellow means go, red means where'd you get that weird banana?
We'll see you next week.